Hi, everybody. It's your friend Riley from Los Angeles, and boy, have I got a story for you. I call it the Crestline cabin disaster. I have a friend visiting from Arizona. We decided that we had to get out of the apartment, so me, and my boyfriend took for the took off for the hills. We were going to go to Crestline to enjoy some hiking and stay socially distanced, but just drink and barbecue and have a good time. If you think it was irresponsible of us to travel during this period, well, you're going to enjoy this story for the schadenfreude. You will also be entertained by this story as a horror story. I present to you my review of the Casa Rentals Crestline Cabin. To begin, Act 1. Cleanliness. 1 star. When we arrived, we were stuck outside, waiting to be sent a door code. How does this relate to cleanliness, you may ask? We were trapped in the driveway next to a massive pile of knocked over trash. There were 2 full trash cans, one of which had been knocked over and strewn about the patio. It was full of raw, unbagged garbage. The smell had attracted a huge swarm of bugs, all of which attacked us as we waited to enter. When we finally made it inside, we thought both beds had linens, but one was just unmade. No such luck. One bed did not have any sheets or blankets. It only had a rough bed skirt, a mattress pad, and 2 dirty comforters. One of the comforters we could not even use because it was so completely covered in dirt and bits of tree. We called the first night we were there, and we were told, of course, housekeeping would respond. No one ever came, and even throughout the next day, we called repeatedly, and no one ever brought sheets or came to pick up the trash. It was the first morning we woke up after sleeping on a basically bare mattress, which was disgusting, since we knew the few things we had were not washed. I went to take a shower. I noticed the hand towel we had all been using had bloody snot on it. It had been there long enough to harden and leave a red stain on the bathroom counter. There was one other towel immediately available. It had vague yellow stains on it. I took that one so as to not subject my boyfriend and friend to the stain towel. After searching the home, we found 2 more hopefully clean towels. They were hidden in the backs of cupboards underneath endless dirt-covered quilts. 3 towels, a tiny bar of soap, and tiny shampoo and conditioner for 3 people for 5 days. But none of this was enough for us to make the decision to leave and cancel the trip entirely. We still held a faint glimmer of hope that housekeeping would come to our aid. However, in the afternoon of our second day, 2 men approached the cabin and left behind a note, after attempting to enter the cabin without knocking. These 2 guys just walked up, and the cabin was kind of weird too because I didn't put this in my review because it's not necessarily a bad thing, but there were lots of windows, but they were all tinted, which the tinting was very dark on the outside, so you could not see into the cabin, but not that light on the inside, so natural light did not get into the cabin. It was very, very dark. And so we were all sitting there working, and these 2 guys walk up and start talking, and we're all still, because all of us are antisocial, so nobody want to talk to anybody. So we're sitting still like spooked lizards, just. And of course the guys come up, but I don't know if they didn't know anyone was staying here or if the door is usually unlocked to the cabin. But they walked up to the door, tried to open it, and then left. They didn't knock. So we're all like, I wonder what that was all about. And we walked outside to check, and they left behind a note. They were from the Department of Sanitation, alerting us that the next day, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., they would be working on the property's sewage lines. Every drain in the house would be backed up with sewage, possibly spewing from it, and we would have no access to water for the entire day. After hearing that, we left the cabin, since we did not want to add raw sewage to our list of troubles. We were not alerted this would be happening when we booked. And then this is the part that really, my friend and my boyfriend agree that this next part is the most insulting part of it all. The host company had a note on the kitchen counter, laminated, taped down, that requested guests at the end of their stay put any dishes in the dishwasher and start a load of laundry if they have time before they leave. This was ridiculous and kind of presumptuous for two reasons. One, it's completely unprofessional to expect a guest to do this when you are a hospitality company. So this wasn't just like a person. Second reason it's ridiculous, there was no dishwasher or laundry machine at the property. Act 2. Accuracy of the listing. 2 stars. The listing said there would be toilet paper. There was no toilet paper, and only 2 rolls of paper towels in the whole cabin for 3 people for 5 days. We're grown adults, so we went and bought toilet paper, but that was an upsetting surprise. The listing said there was a laptop-friendly workspace. There was no laptop-friendly workspace, just a large table with uncomfortable wooden chairs. The chairs were too tall for the table. My boyfriend's knees knocked against the table, and it stained his pants orange. I can't explain this. I don't know what the substance was. Why would the bottom of a wooden table be orange? There were next to no outlets. And the few outlets that there were taken up by like the vintage lamps. Like these lamps in here looked like they were from the 70s and like not in a cute like Art Deco trendy way. Art Deco's from the 30s? I don't know. I'm not an architecture major. Like this is an old lamp that has a two-pronged outlet and might burn down the apartment, the cabin, and we could not find enough outlets. We kept having to do like outlet triage, which, is a very millennial problem, but I'm sure you understand. I thought I'd be able to work there because it said there was a laptop-friendly workspace. It was challenging, not only because I spent 8 hours trying to reach customer support about the cabin, I had to unplug the smoke alarm to have an outlet for my laptop. The listing also claims that Vacasa Vacation Rentals is backed by 24/7 customer support and expert cleaning in line with current CDC guidelines. They only half cleaned the house. Like we were trying to figure out what happened to the housekeepers. Like they cleaned the kitchen and the common areas and then took the bedding off the beds and just disappeared in the middle of the woods. We were both upset and spooked and like concerned for the housekeepers. I called Vacasa Vacation Rentals 13 times, was put on, of course, a long ass hold waiting for anybody to answer me. I only got through twice. And those 2 times that I got through, they told me they would call me back, and then they never did, and never sent housekeeping. The times that I didn't get through, my call went to a full voicemail and it hung up on me. So after being on hold for 2 hours, I would get dropped off of their full voicemail box. I did pretty good keeping my temper in check. I only threw something like once the whole time. They also messaged me, inviting me to message them, and though I messaged them through text and through Airbnb, they never responded to me. Not once. And it was kind of insulting. I felt like I got ghosted. Like 10 a.m. the first day we were driving over to the cabin and we weren't even there yet and they sent me this nice message. They were like, "Oh, we're so excited for you to enjoy your stay in Crestline and here is you can just text this number if you need anything. We'll respond right away. Enjoy your stay." And then we got there and I didn't have the door code and they never said it to me and there was a huge steaming pile of trash and I texted them in desperation, and no one ever responded. And it's like, if you're not gonna follow through, don't text me. That's just a good lesson. If you're not going to follow through on your offers of friendship and affection, just don't text me. The cost of vacation rentals. The metaphor scans. I'm saying this is applicable both for friends and Vacasa Vacation Rentals. Not that I expected Vacasa Vacation Rentals to give me affection. I just wanted a basically clean cabin. Next category on the Airbnb review, check-in. 1 star. They didn't send me the lockbox code, and they didn't respond when I asked for it over text, Airbnb message, and phone call. It took 2 calls and 30 minutes of waiting on hold to finally get into the house. Communication is the next category on Airbnb. 1 star. They never responded to a single message. I called 13 times, got 2 answers, no callbacks or any remedy for the cabin's issues. And honestly, Airbnb was similarly unresponsive. Like, I've had a lot of good experiences with Airbnb, had a lot of bad experiences. I've never had to use their support before. I've always just resolved things with the host. I mean, because it's kind of like going to the teacher, right? It feels weird to have to call Airbnb. And we saved it for like the last resort. We did not call Airbnb until it was like 8 p.m. the second night, the night before sanitation was going to turn off the water in the cabin. I spent 8 hours on the phone that day trying to contact Vacasa Vacation Rentals. Took up like my whole day. And also I was working or whatever. I was multitasking. We thought Airbnb would fix everything, and they didn't. But that's part 2 of this saga. The next category is location. Airbnb is like defines location as whether or not the address that they give you is correct, which feels like a low bar to me. Like, uh, do we have a big problem with you being like, what's the address to this property that I've purchased a night in? And then the Airbnb host is like, go to the stone that has no name and turn west. Then take 3 steps toward your heart's desire and turn west. And is that a big problem, or do people just like give you the address? How do you muff that up? But anyway, location 5 stars because forests are nice and technically the address was accurate, and that's the only thing that category uh means. So, value for the money is the final category on Airbnb. And we said 1 star. They failed to provide basic CDC health requirements. Like, that place was gross. It was bad. It was disgusting and unlivable. We had to abandon our trip and go home. And why we completely gave up on Crestline in general is actually part 2 of the saga that we'll go into in just a sec. And the impending sewage backup was the disgusting cherry on top. P.S. The shower pressure was so powerful, my friend's chest was bruised in the shower. It was an excessively powerful, like, I've complained, but I will never complain again about weak shower pressure at a hotel because it is better than being pummeled by a shower that hates you at a cabin. After you fill in all that review, Airbnb asks you to add a private note to the company. So I wrote a couple of things in here, but I'm not going to share them because it's private between me and Vacasa. And I don't have a bleep button. JK, I didn't say anything mean. I just told them if you can't do basic cleaning for your properties, you should not open them during a pandemic. Or at least warn a bitch. Like, put on your listing, hey, we don't have time to clean this cabin, but here, it's gonna be cheap, and if you clean it yourself and bring sheets, you can have it at like a 50% discount. That shit would be great. I would have jumped right into that. I mean, the sanitation department thing would have still been a deal breaker. That's the thing. That was the big deal breaker. So we found out about that, and as soon as we found out about that, we knew we had to find somewhere else to stay, right? So here's part 2.